You can see here behind me the wave action, very impressive. It suddenly picked up in size and in strength. In the January blizzard, we saw this area flood, and today we're seeing it flood again. Here's the football field completely underwater. See how high the water is on those goalposts. And I'll tell you who's really concerned about the flooding are the people who live right across the street. We just spoke to them. They're concerned that this water has nowhere to go. People living along Cherry Street in Wenham have been evacuated from their homes as firefighters work to put out explosive flames. In a nor'easter, they expect the high winds and heavy rain, but not a fireball.
Pretty terrifying.
A down tree hit an electrical wire on Cherry Street in Wenham, and a live wire burned a hole in the ground, which hit a gas line.
My heart dropped. I'm a brand new resident, and I just thought my first big purchase as an adult, and it could be up in flames.
Police say it formed a 30-foot fireball and a 3-alarm fire.
We did get a robocall saying anyone that lived in the area should be concerned.
Neighbors were evacuated and the fire burned for hours. Brian Dozer can't believe it was contained.
It was pretty intense, and our backyards almost connect to the where the flames were, so I was really worried it was going to come over to our properties.
Police say no homes were damaged and no one was injured, but the power is out and neighbors are displaced. So we still have National Grid crews and several firefighters here on scene. No word yet when they might be able to get power back to this area and let people into their homes, but they've been waiting for about 4 hours now. Live in Wenham, Danielle Waugh, NBC 10 Boston. We're getting a look at the aftermath, some damage here at Uncle Eddie's. It's a business right by the water, and you can see just how powerful these floodwaters must have been to do this to the fences, completely upending benches.
Danielle, you brought us some very incredible images this morning.
Yeah, Caitlin, we've got a churned up ocean here behind me in Salisbury as we wait for that next high tide, the water creeping up closer. And you know it's a big storm when they build sand piles this high. How high they are compared to me. Yeah, less than 2 hours away from high tide and no time to waste here at Salisbury Beach. You can see and hear these crews behind me. They are working to bolster this wall of sand that was built. Well, here we go again, the third time in 24 hours it is flooding here in Salisbury. I'm standing on a sidewalk and I am calf deep in salt water. I want to show you about 100 yards away. We're going to zoom down as far as we can to show you this sand wall that's been built. We're seeing some really strong waves splashing over, causing this flooding. People watching it say this is a storm that they've never seen before. An angry ocean ushers in another round of high tide after what was already a rough night. In Salisbury early Saturday morning, the ocean came in like a river. These walls of sand, no match for the tide.
It was scary. It definitely was scary. Seeing the water come over the walls over there was really creepy too.
This video taken by police shows an astronomical high tide. It flooded streets and damaged businesses by the beach. A local landmark, Uncle Eddie's Bar, now a mess. The force of the water so strong, it shifted pilings supporting structures on the beach.
The houses were shaking a little bit, but like I say, we were lucky it wasn't snow with all the rain, because it would have caused a lot more devastation, I feel, if it, like the storm of '78 did.
This was probably the scariest nor'easter I've ever felt.
Mark Soteropoulos took these photos outside his home. He says he's lucky he avoided water damage, but he knows it's not over yet.
We have one more high tide to go with.
That video that we showed you from police, it's a repeat performance right now in the daylight. You really get a sense of how deep the water is when you look around and you see it creeping up to these stop signs. The areas here have been closed to traffic. Everybody's asked to move away as far as possible. And like we keep saying, this tide that you're watching right now has not yet hit its peak. It is not yet high tide, so the flooding will only increase from here. Live in Salisbury, Danielle Waugh, NECN.